Hi, and welcome to this episode of Honest to Gob. And we are calling, what are we calling it? Taking the mask off? Selling ourselves?
Authenticity. Probably all of those things we'll put in the title.
Being our authentic self?
That'll do.
Yeah, okay.
We're really good at prepping.
Yeah.
I'm Gemma.
And I'm Claire, and I hope you enjoy this episode. We are talking all things about taking the mask off, being our authentic self, and not comparing ourselves to others. It's that time of the show. We have to pay the mortgage. We have to sell ourselves.
Which is going to become apparent in this actual episode today. But hi, I'm Gemma. I write books about self-discipline and stopping procrastinating. So if you've ever wanted to pull your finger out, get more done in less time, stop just feeling like a failure, then you can search for me on Amazon. It's Gemma Ray, R-A-Y, or you can go to gemmaray.com. That's me done. What about you?
And my name is Claire Morton, and I'm a high-performance coach and meditation teacher. If you want to find out more about what I do in terms of modern meditation, learning the science and the woo, you can find me. The woo. That used to be my nickname in school, actually. There's other reasons for that. Instagram is @thepurposepusher. Yes, and the Purpose Pusher, thepurpose-pusher.com, and also Claire Morton on Facebook.
So if you are a stress ed like me and you want to learn how to not be a stress ed and not just the fluffy fairy, let's all wear a caftan and praise to the universe, but you actually want to learn the science of how to stop stressing with Claire's meditation, it is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
You're welcome, darling. Right, it's time to gob off. It's your turn to gob off.
Oh, gobbing off, yes. I was thinking about this with you this morning, wasn't I? And one of the things that does my head in, and what I really want to gob off about, and I don't know if you can see anything on the cameras, but for those listening on audio, I have half hacked nails where I have been peeling off shellac. Those people that don't know what shellac is, it's like a nail varnish that stays on the nails forever, and it starts to sort of come off at the edges after about 2 weeks. It's great for going on holiday and, if you want to keep it on. And it really actually is good for strengthening your nails. So I started getting a little bit of a flap sticking up yesterday.
Sorry, you know where my head went.
Yeah. A little bit of a, I won't call it, it was like a bit of nail varnish that was flapping up, and I started picking the flap, which again, sorry. It has resulted in me then being obsessed and then picking every single bit of shellac off my nails, which then rips off
your natural nail,
your natural top little layer of the nail. I know, but it's funny.
They look awful. Like
they do. I look like a meth, and a meth in Scouse terms is someone who looks like a scruff, basically, or doesn't clean themselves. And I do. It's just that my nails just look a bit unfinished.
Why don't you file them off? Buff it off.
Well, I was going to. I just haven't had the time. Buff the flaps.
It's not happening, is it? Producer Jacob's got a nail file.
I've actually brought one in my bag today, so I was going to do it after the podcast before I go to a meeting at 12 o'clock.
Yeah,
I was thinking, she's going to think I'm a meth. I'm going to have to explain what this is. So does anybody else do this? Because I know a lot of women that do. Do you not pick yours?
So... Yes, I haven't got shellac anymore because
your nails.
My nails never grew, and then I stopped being a fat cow and got healthy and stopped drinking, and they grow now, which is amazing. I also can't seem to get an appointment for love nor money, so I just gave up.
Really? Because everyone's getting their nails done because we're all back out and going out and showing off our hands.
But I enjoy doing my nails. I've found though, anybody listening, top tip, I'm not a glitter fan at all. I'm not a glittery girl, but glitter nail varnish is really strong because it's got pieces of actual stuff in it. So sometimes I will put glitter, even though I feel ridiculous. I'm like nearly 40, I look like Princess Sparkle Fairy with the nails.
Oh, I love the glitter.
Yeah, but it makes them last. So that's what you're gobbing off about this week.
That's what I'm gobbing off about. Shit nails, picking them, and then being fuming with yourself because you've picked them and then your nails go dead thin.
Well, surprisingly, I can contribute on this.
Go on then.
Oh, come on.
So
come on.
I've suffered with picking nails since I can remember. And I get to a point where they're bleeding, they hurt when I do anything.
Is this because you're biting them or picking them?
Both.
Okay.
And it's something that I've suffered with all my life. Mm-hmm. And funnily enough, the resolution that I found is because I don't like seeing it being uneven or they're being ridges. So if I see a ridge, I want to pick it.
Yeah.
And the way I deal with that is I keep a nail file and a nail clipper on me at all times. So if I see any little bit, I just clip it immediately. I don't have to pick it.
I love you.
Got it in my bag, in my office, at home, on my sofa, within an arm's reach of anywhere. I've got a nail clipper. So if I see something, I don't have to pick it. I can just get rid of it.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good tip for anybody who does pick or bite the nails, to have a
worked for
nail
me.
clipper and a nail file.
Because it's an anxiety thing for me.
It is. I tend to, pick the underside of my nails if I'm stressed. Or meetings. Oh my God. When I worked in the NHS and it was about meeting after meeting after meeting.
And was this because you were stressed? It was a way of getting, or was it because you were bored?
It was a way of boredom, stress, and a way of focusing, just picking the underside of my nails. So if you're in a situation with me where I'm picking the underside of my nails, I want you to shut the fuck up.
Just do my meditation then, and it'll just make you stress less.
Yeah. I love it. Nice little plug. I'm really glad you've just done that. I'm really glad you've just plugged your meditation because this episode is all about showing up as your authentic self. Me and Claire were on the elliptical this morning in the gym talking about it. Do you want to talk about your voice note that you sent me this week or not? It's okay if you don't want to.
Yeah. I sent you a voice note on Friday.
Yeah.
And I was angry and upset and had something called imposter syndrome and comparisonitis. So it was like, it's funny because it's certain times of the month that comes in.
To do with your cycle?
I think it is to do with my cycle, but now that I know more about the moon, I think it's definitely to do with the energies of the moon and the moon cycle as well, because I looked that up on Friday and it was saying about you going through challenging times. At the minute you're being redirected. Again, it's not just me, it's people on the planet who are not, because I don't feel like I'm focused either. I'm doing too many things again. And I just was so tired. I'd hit a bit of an all-time low and I was telling myself I was shit at what I do.
Which you're not.
Why am I doing it? And there's other people out there doing it better than me. And so, and it's not like me to admit that I'm normally...
Well, you've got a group called The Successful Kindset on Facebook, and you'd done a live that morning. And I think your opening line, if I can remember rightly, was, "Hi girls, how are you this morning? I'm a knobhead. I've put too many things in the diary and now I'm stressed." And I was like, but you're right, you've got too many things on. So it then makes you therefore time poor. Oh, you're just spreading yourself too thin. And
there's no focus.
But I think as well, because this whole podcast topic is about being your authentic self, you would spread yourself so thin and you put so many things in your diary that you were having to play different roles multiple times in a week. And that's hard. So we were chatting this morning, weren't we? And I just want you to explain that a little bit because you'd done a leadership retreat for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So talk to me about corporate Claire. What happens when you become corporate Claire?
Corporate Claire has the mask on. I'm aware of it. I'm not corporate Claire 5 or 10 years ago. Corporate Claire 5 or 10 years ago.
Claire 10 years ago?
She was very polished, as in...
But she didn't have shit nails.
No, she didn't. She didn't have shit nails. She'd put the makeup on. She'd wear the suit most of the time, or she'd be very smart. She'd always think about what she was wearing and who she was meeting that day and what impression she wanted to make. I
love that we're talking about her like she's not you, but it's great.
I know, yeah. And pleases and thank yous. Know who to say certain things to and who not, but still not being who I really was. Unless I was comfortable with certain people. But then still always watching what I said and then looking at people's reactions and then going, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I've upset them now." Or, "Oh, I'm going to lose my job because I've just said that. I've just suggested this idea or this new plan. They didn't like that. I'm going to get sacked." So all that shit going on. And then hence why when I turned 40, I just woke up one day and was like, why am I putting up with this? I just want to be myself. I want to be, I want to help people. I want to work with people, like-minded people who want to make a difference in the world, who want to help others. I want to inspire that. So I ended up setting up my own business and therefore I felt better at that because I thought it's my business. So it's me going into other businesses to deliver leadership, to deliver management, mindset, resilience, all of that stuff. But then, so when I was at home designing stuff, I'd be Claire, just normal Claire. I might be working at home in my pajamas. And then I'd get a job and it'd be like, right, you're going into a corporate to do leadership or customer services or blah, blah, blah. So then I'd go, it's like you'd put this like, I have to go in and be all like corporate, like a robot.
Yeah.
So then because it was my own business and because sometimes I do associate work, so I work for other people, other training providers, and they go, Claire, we've got this client, can we use you? But you go into our client as us, as our customer, as your company, you're not
L&D.
L&D.
A personal white label, isn't it? So you're going in, let's say, I don't know, it's called Green Frog Coaching. I don't know where that came from. You know, you are Claire from Green Frog Coaching, not Claire from L&D, which is your business name.
Yeah. So then you sort of go and, that's great. And because I love doing associate work and they still pay really good. And I still do associate work for some companies that are like me, where I can be myself. But there's that thing of, I'm going in now as Green Frog training, not L&D, so I have to go more corporate. And I go a bit stiff and I go a little bit teacher-like, but in a nice way. And then I notice when I have my own clients, it's just me, because you've chose me to work with me because you know me as just the Claire that I am. So, but I always because I am quite self-aware, I know what's going on inside my head and I read the room pretty well. But I can overread sometimes, so I can overread into things and go, they don't like me because I've just said that thing. And then possibly it's like, no, they were just listening. That's the listening phase, Claire. Just because they didn't give you a clap or a smile doesn't mean they haven't taken it in. They're just listening. Not that they don't want to buy into your idea or your suggestion. And that's fine, because not everyone wants to buy into certain suggestions. But because I spoke to you last week, I'm on my own a lot of the time. And it's very lonely in the entrepreneurial world, even though I am part of other teams. When it comes to me at design level or feedback level and I feel quite low, I've got no one. I penned the voicemail to you the other day, thank God, because I know I can speak to you and I hope the feeling's mutual. And I knew you'd get it. I knew you'd get it.
You said there, the entrepreneurial space can be quite lonely.
Yeah.
And I've done that. So I was a freelancer for 5 years, like you, doing my version of associate work. So being a consultant in other businesses. I've worked in lots of different businesses and pride myself on being a really good team player, never feeling like that external consultant, but mucking in with the team and being in with it. And actually sometimes that's difficult because you end up spreading yourself so thin across different teams with different values, with different identities. And then you try and come back to you and do your own thing. And I know this is something we have both massively, massively struggled with, hence the new feature, Pay Your Mortgage. We've got a podcast that we do not talk about how we pay our mortgage. I know we always said we wanted to do this podcast for fun. But the reality is there's costs involved. It costs us to hire the studio, have the wonderful Jacob, you know, hooray! And that's why we wanted to do it, because we knew that we wouldn't do it without his help and it was worth investing in for us. But why do we struggle so much to put ourselves out there? And you've just said something there earlier on. You were talking about why are other people doing this? Why would they listen to me? Why would they buy from me? Why would they hire me? And we know the answer to that, because every book, every person who's in this kind of space says, nobody can be you. You have unique gifts, personality, service, talents that can service the world. And people buy people. People buy into you. Not your modern meditation course. You could have the best course material in the world, but ultimately what makes people choose to get their cards out, put those numbers in and buy that is how they've been marketed to. And often it's that person at the forefront of it. I work for a nutrition, fitness and mindset company called Body Smart. And recently we've read an incredible book, which I highly recommend, called Primal Branding by a guy called Patrick Hanlon. And he states that there are 7 different pieces of something called primal code, which is what makes people go from thinking a brand's all right to being raving fans. So like those people, Apple is a great example.
Yeah.
You know, people don't just like Apple, they worship Apple, they love it.
Camping out.
Yeah.
Days before.
Exactly. And
days?
it talks about these 7 pieces of primal code, which every brand should have in order to make people fall in love with that brand. And one of them is the leader. And For me, like when I was a freelancer working for myself, I never felt like I had a brand as such because I am the brand. You are.
Yeah.
You are your brand as well. And I think it's sometimes extremely difficult to market yourself when it's your name on the tin because you do get that imposter syndrome. You do get that comparisonitis. You do feel uncomfortable selling yourself and selling your services. So then when you do see other people doing it really well, it does make you feel like, I should be doing this and I should be doing that.
And part of it is you do see people doing it, doing it well and they're amazing at what they do. And then I see other people and I don't even know if they're doing well or not. And I go, wow, if they're doing that and they're comfortable with doing that, which is, I think is not quality content, then why aren't I showing the world what I can do?
Why? Let's answer that question. Why don't we show the world what we can do?
Because it's that thing of rejection, I think. It's funny because there's different ways that I feel safe in the Facebook group. I probably feel okay on Facebook, probably feel okay on LinkedIn. It's Instagram.
Oh, go on.
I don't know what it is. I can't
Okay,
do
so
a live on Instagram.
this might answer-
I can do a live. I've chosen not to. There's a thing in me that goes,
How strange. Oh, I've got a question for you then.
I'm fine doing stuff in person as well.
I've been meaning to ask you. So you have got the Purpose Pusher on Instagram, but we also have Honest to God Pod.
Yeah.
And you've been posting loads on Honest to God Pod. You've been doing stories on there and about what you're doing and things.
Oh, by the way, that's because it's linked to Instagram. I didn't even realise. It's linked to me Facebook, Instagram, because they're all linked, aren't they? I think that's why. So I started taking them off thinking, I'll take them off because they don't go with Honest to God.
No, but they do because, again, people buy people. It's you. It's what you're doing. It's your life.
Yeah.
But I thought you might have been doing that because I've done this before. I've
hiding it in another thing.
I'm going to hide it in another
It
thing.
that could be a subconscious thing, actually, couldn't it? But I've then gone in and noticed that it's gone on and took it off.
But going back to those masks that we wear, and we were chatting about this morning, actually sometimes it's appropriate to have different versions of yourself while still remaining authentic. And that's what I love about this podcast. We are ourselves.
Yep.
I wouldn't say I'm 100% myself on this podcast. I'd probably
you
say
can be sometimes. Remember the time she said she wanted to? She dreamt about shagging me dad.
Yeah, that was a classic.
That was a classic
time.
Gemma.
Sometimes it comes out, but I would say I definitely there's a part of me that pulls back a bit on the podcast because it's out in the public domain.
Yeah,
and it's a bit scary and terrifying. But there are different versions of I mean, in my role right now, there's 30 of us who work in the company, and I am 100% myself with 3 people in particular. My coach, Kelly, Jamie and Si, who I work with in my team. But everybody else, they get a different version of Gemma. Oh my God, like the shit I send Si and Jamie sometimes.
You told me this morning, didn't you?
It's
Which I think you can be like that with me.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely like that with you.
That's my sense of humour, and I could be like that with you. But there's a fine line, isn't there?
Well, yeah,
and being aware of that.
Well, when Si, who's in my team, did something where he removed a beep off a piece of audio the other day, and I was so worried about it. And he said, look, I found this spectral graph. Jacob might understand this better than I do. Look, here's my spectral graph. And I've managed to take the beep off. And I was so happy and excited because it was like, yes, we don't have to re-record that. And my response on Slack, which is a corporate method of communication, said, oh my God, you effing legend. Don't know if I'm going to shit myself or come, because I was that happy and excited. And he just put, I am dying, and the laughing emoji. And I said, enjoy it, because when we get a HR person, I'll be fired immediately. But it's like,
well, hire a HR person. That's on the same. It's on the same way.
Because but that is the other side of it, isn't there? You know, it is really difficult because there is that fine line with being yourself. And when I worked in the BBC. They had this. Yeah. They had this thing of you bring your whole self to work. I could never bring my whole self to work at the BBC. I wouldn't have lasted 1 minute on air, you know. But then they also have a rule about being impartial, which I struggled with because how can you be impartial when you're a human being? It ain't possible. It's just not possible. So being authentic, I think is quite difficult, and it's about knowing your audience, reading your audience, being self-aware. Because there's
And-
this
and
cancel
again,
culture
it's-
as well that
it
we've got
is.
going on that we've got to be careful about.
It is about, and again, I spoke to you when we were on the elliptical this morning about Rob Goffey, and I always remember because I teach this in my leadership
And who's
stuff.
Rob Goffey?
He wrote a book with another guy. I can't remember his name. Sorry. If they ever get to listen to this podcast, and I don't, it's Gareth someone. It's called "Why Should Anyone Be Led by You?" So I think it's a brilliant question as a leader. If you're, and whether you're a leader in a business, you're a leader in the family, you're a leader of a community. Why should anyone be led by you? Is a really good question to make you think. Oh, why should anyone be led by me? Actually, what do I bring to the party? So I question myself when I'm leading or facilitating a course, whether I'm in corporate and I'm leading a group. Like last week, I was leading a group of leaders from an amazing hospitality company that they chose to do a retreat with meditation, yoga, breathwork, leadership stuff. And we talked about this, the Rob Goffey stuff around being yourself, but with skill.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and one of his points out of that book is, be your authentic self, know who you are and what you stand for, but also about what you said before about knowing your audience, reading the room, knowing the context that you want to lead in, but always be comfortable with being yourself. And I remember it from my QVC days when I used to run the internal leadership program, and that's what we ran our course on about. We want you to be yourself, but it's about, not being best mates with your team, because you're going to have to sort of make a step up because you're managing and leading the team. So you're going to have challenging conversations every now and again. But they need to, if you are your authentic self and you be the best version of you and you come at it from a place of love and good intention, your team will then trust you and know if you do need to have a challenging conversation with them, that it's coming from a good place. You're not having that conversation with them if it's just for the sake of it because you want to pick on them because you don't like them.
But that trust piece is actually really important. And thinking about yourself as your brand.
Yeah, trusting yourself.
But also other people have got to trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we consume so much content nowadays on social media. I think people can see when somebody's being genuine or whether there is a mask or an air of fakeness or bravado or exaggeration. And so that trust in yourself to deliver a message as your authentic self will always, always help you in terms of marketing, selling yourself and being your own brand. Because masks slip on people.
And again, we do need to take the mask off, because if we are wearing a mask, because we wear several different masks, don't we, all of us throughout the day, depending on who we're with, whether it's mother, daughter, consultant, coach, neighbour, wife, cooker, cleaner, all of that stuff. But yeah, it's wearing those different masks, but at the end of the day, just knowing who you are and what you stand for. And a lot of people don't. And I think I coach people and help them to do that, but I still have that problem. So part of me doing that live in the group on Friday was to say, by the way, I've had a good week, it's been challenging, but this is what I've done. I've been a knobhead. I've done too many things because I'm trying to please too many people and I'm spreading myself thin. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. So don't do it. Don't be a knobhead. Don't do that. Just say no, have boundaries.
Yeah.
But trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, people will see it and then they'll think that you're not confident in what you're selling or what you're about. And that's where I've had a word with myself around is I do trust what I'm doing. I believe in my mission. But what is it that's stopping me?
Here's a question then,
and again,
right?
comparisonitis. Compare myself.
So let's pretend there's nobody else in the whole wide world.
Mm-hmm.
Your modern meditation course that you've just worked your arse off for, by the way. Because I know it's not easy for you to get in front of the camera because you do feel better in person, feeding off the energy of people, reading a room. Are you proud of the course?
Very proud of the course. Really
Are you proud of the material?
Really proud of the material. And obviously Jacob had a lot to do with it. But that was that whole comfort with me and Jacob. He knew where I was nervous. He guided me that way because I was open with him to say, I'm nervous. This is like, I'm just talking to that camera.
Do you believe you can help people with it?
Yeah.
How is it going to change somebody's life?
It's going to get them to obviously understand what stress is costing them and that it's costing them a lot and they need not to stress because what's in the modern world is not going to kill us, is it? Because it's not saber-toothed tiger. We're making ourselves sick. But I am really proud of the course, but it's funny because I want to keep this course. I don't really want to put it out to the world because then what if people say it's shit? But then it might be someone's perception to say it's shit, but I know it's not, and a lot of people will get a lot of value out of it and it will change their life if they watch it and put the practice in. So,
and you've also, the reality is 100% of people aren't gonna love everything you do. You know, you might not be for some people. You've got a good phrase. You've got a really good wanky phrase about this.
Yeah. You can be the juiciest, ripest peach on the tree, but not everybody likes peaches.
Love that.
I do.
Proper wanky quote.
It's a proper wanky quote, but it absolutely hits the nail.
Yeah.
And I say that to my clients because I have people who run businesses as well who are going through the same thing as I do.
Do you know anybody who doesn't suffer with imposter syndrome and not feeling good enough?
No.
I don't.
And I think the more you achieve, the worse it gets.
There's a really good TED Talk, Australian guy who runs a company called Atlassian, who own Trello, actually.
Oh, I use them. Atlassian, it's a HR training system.
Yeah.
Do you use that in where I'm working in?
I can't think of his name, but he's an Australian guy. And he does a TED Talk about imposter syndrome. We will put the link to it in the show notes. And he talks about the fact that I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to have to spoil it. Spoiler alert. Fast forward a few seconds if you're going to go and watch it. Or pause it, go and watch it from the link in the show notes and then come back. So he talks about having this tech company that absolutely blew up. And he got nominated for an award in Australia. And they couldn't believe it when not only did they win their category, they won the overall award. So then he flew somewhere else. I can't remember where he said he flew. And it was the international awards. So they won for Australia and they represented Australia at these international awards. And he sat on a table with this guy. I think he was from, I can't remember where he said he was from, but Portugal or something like that. Billionaire next to him.
Yeah.
Massive, huge company. And he's like, you know, we turn up in our rented tuxedos and he turns around to this guy and he's honest and says like, I shouldn't be here. I don't know why I'm here. And the billionaire turns around and goes, yeah, I feel the same. And that was the point. He said it was a really good lesson for him when he realised that it's so normal to feel like that.
Yeah.
It really is. And the truth is, right?
I'm going to get found out. I'm going to get found out about what? Or they're going to find out that I'm just winging it.
I think that I remember being in a job and I was working for a radio station. And it was easy. My job was dead easy. Like every single day I knew exactly what I was doing. And I went out for a little business lunch with a load of professional women from Liverpool city centre. And there must have been about 20 of us on this table. And these girls were like head of marketing for big, big companies. They were lawyers. And there's me and my mate who worked in sponsorship promotions and interactive on the radio station. And we had this big meal and the girls were open and said basically, every day I go in, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why they listen to me. I just feel like I'm going to get found out. And I remember walking back with my colleague and going, oh my God, surely they shouldn't be in those roles. Like how can they even do those jobs? Because our job was dead easy. But you know, if I'd have stayed in that role, I would never have grown. I would never have learned what I did. And I think it is a sign of getting out of your comfort zone and growing as a person and learning that you do actually feel like that. I feel like that all the time.
Well, that's when you know that you feel like that all the time, that is a sign of you growing. It's you coming out your comfort zone every day. I'm the same every day. And that's what I tell myself now. It's like, the reason why you feel like this is because you're coming out your comfort zone because you want to, because you hate being in your comfort zone. It bores the shit out of me. So it's like you're constantly learning and you're constantly growing. So it's okay. And it's that having that realisation. And I think by having these conversations, helping people to realise that we all say them things to ourselves and it's normal.
I deal with this through journaling. I find it very helpful. So I will say things to myself like, what is the cost of me not put, like, for example, I launched a new book over the summer and
plug the book.
It was a thank you.
Plug it.
Thank you. It's called Stop Procrastinating in 6 Steps. And actually, really annoyingly, it's the shortest book that I've wrote. It's written. It's a book/journal prompt workbook. You can do it in less than an hour, and it's been designed for those people who aren't going to read a book about procrastination because they're too busy procrastinating. Yeah. Inspired by a friend of mine who said those very words to me. So I wrote this very, very short Stop Procrastinating in 6 Steps as a guide to help people to just snap out of not taking action. But putting it out there felt horrible.
How did you feel? What were you feeling when you did it?
Why would anybody listen to me? Because I think as well, because I do procrastinate massively. It's not being productive is not a natural state for me. My natural state is to want to be a lazy cow. And I've had to learn how, I was going to say force this, but force is the wrong word. But I've had to learn the skill and enjoyment of taking action. Mm-hmm. And it's been great. So I think in the back of my mind, also I didn't go to university. I don't have a degree. That's a massive barrier for me. Yeah, I know.
That's such a barrier for so many people, and it's always people that are amazing that I know.
And the reason why I didn't go to university was a financial decision with me and my parents. That was the reason why I didn't go to university. I didn't know actually at the time that financially you've got ages to pay it back until you earn a certain amount. It was never explained to me properly, so I just never went. I might do in the future. I might go, but I soak up knowledge. I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly learning, and I do know
my shit. I know my shit.
I know my shit. I've been through a nervous breakdown. I've pulled myself out of it. I've fucking pulled my finger out, built my dream home, written a shitload of books, lost a shitload of weight, sorted my shit out and feel great.
And in a job that you love and you're still doing your own.
And do you know what? Now I'm actually saying this out loud. It makes me annoyed with myself because I am so passionate about it. So when I'm feeling like that, my journal prompts become, what is the cost of me not doing this? What will happen if I do this? What's going to potentially stand in my way? Where do I have to get out of my own way? And that really helps me. Have you got any tips that you would personally give to people?
Yeah, so how I do it is basically I just go, fuck it, just do it. just do whatever you need to do at that time. And what I do, a tip that when I am feeling low and I am feeling challenged or quite negative is I put my timer on 60 seconds and I have a 60-second rant. I think I might have told you about this.
It's amazing, this.
I have a 60-second rant so that everything that's going round in my head comes out the mouth, and it's like therapy in 60 seconds. Then after that, I say to myself, I am the luckiest person I know. Lucky things happen to me. I feel so lucky. And I say that 3 times afterwards. And I do that for 7 days. Okay. By day 3, the rant of 60 seconds doesn't even get to 20 seconds because it's out.
Yeah.
It's not in my head, because when it's in your head, you're constantly just saying it to yourself. So when it physically comes out the mouth and you hear it and you have to think about saying it to come out, the rant is gone. But then you're starting to go, I'm the luckiest person I know. Lucky things happen to me. I feel so lucky. And then at the end of the week, you're just like, what did I even start doing that rant thing for anyway? But it really helps. And also asking yourself coaching questions like what you said in your journal. And so, who's important to me? What's important to me? What do I want to be? What do I want to do? And what do I want to have? And what do I want to have? Peace, because I want to have peace of mind, or it could be I want to have the next Range Rover, or I just want to have time to myself. It doesn't have to. It can be whatever you want. And if you revisit them questions every 3 months, that because they change. Because who is important to me? It could be family, friends, and I'm specific with the names. But 1 month it could be, you know what? Who's important to me? I am important to me. So I need to look after myself and work on my mindset and stop following people that trigger me and make me feel like they're 7,000 steps ahead of me. Because
sometimes
it's not
worth putting them.
their journey, it's my journey. And we hear this all the time. We say it to clients. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
I like it.
So I need to do more of that.
Okay. Great tips. I will make sure that we put those questions in the show notes as well, because I think they're really powerful and really important. And one final tip, the phrase, I am enough, because I think sometimes all of this comes back down to is a feeling of not feeling good enough. And having the phrase, I am enough, whether you write it in a journal, whether you have it on a Post-it note somewhere, is just a really, really powerful statement and affirmation. And if you've got the balls to say it and look in the mirror and say it every day, trust me, it can be absolutely life-changing. So say it with me. I am enough. And that nicely rounds up this episode of Honest to Gob. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.